and to appeal to the audience needs and emotions using stories, anecdotes, and quotes to add drama. Today, Rachel is completing her final project, as I said, in her Confident Communicator Manual, and she's going to share her personal belief of the role of adversity in our lives and inspire you to view your hardship in a new light. Let's please welcome Rachel.
Toastmasters and honored guests. As Sabrina mentioned, this is my last speech today. Very excited. So in the Bible, there is a parable or a scripture that talks about Christ as the refiner, and he refines gold and he refines silver. And I really like this thought, and I've thought about it a lot and this concept a lot. A refiner or a metallurgist, when they refine their metal, they take the metal and they put it in the middle of the fire, in the hottest part of the fire. And as that metal starts to melt, the impurities burn out of it. So the dross and all of the things that are in it that are not the pure form of that metal get burned out. And then at the end, when they take it out of the fire, that metal then, when it cools, becomes harder and stronger because it doesn't have those impurities anymore. And I've thought about that a lot in relation to the role that adversity plays in our lives and the fire of adversity that we might all go through. So today I would like to share with you a story about my personal belief in how our adversities can make us stronger and better people. I've mentioned before in a few speeches that my husband and I had a hard time getting pregnant. So we tried for 6 years to have a baby in order to get pregnant. And we eventually decided we were going to do in vitro fertilization. And for those of you that don't know much about it, it's the most extreme and invasive procedure you can go through in order to have a child naturally. It's a big ordeal. So essentially what happens is eggs from mom, sperm from father taken and put together in the lab so that the fertilization occurs in the lab, and then hopefully it works and you have embryos, and then the embryos are either put back in the mother right away or they're frozen to be used at a future time. So in 2013, my husband and I decided we were at the point where we wanted to try this. So we did the whole process. It's extensive in terms of time, just getting your body ready for it. They give you all kinds of hormones and different things to try to ramp up your body so that it's totally unnatural and not the way God intended for you to have a baby, because they want to get as many eggs as they can and really maximize your chances of it working. So we did a lot of, physically very challenging for the mother to be, that, you would go through that. It's also financially, talking about pecuniary concerns, it's financially quite challenging, depending on your doctor, depending on the severity of your circumstances, your insurance, it's anywhere from $15,000 to $30,000. So, and most insurance doesn't cover it or doesn't cover all of it. So it's something you don't undertake doing lightly. And emotionally as well, very draining. It's a lot of anticipation and expectation and hope and everything. So in 2013, as I mentioned, we decided to do in vitro fertilization. So the day came where we had 4 embryos that were ready to be used. And so we were going to do the procedure where they would put them back in me, and I was just going to do 2 at that time. So we go through the procedure, go home, chill out, relax that day, and then there's what they call in the fertility world the 2-week wait, and that's basically the 2 weeks that you wait between the procedure until they can determine if a pregnancy has occurred or not. Just the way the body works, they can't detect it any earlier than that. So in that time period, you basically are just like living your life on pins and needles, waiting to find out if it worked or not. So I tried to distract myself the best I could during those 2 weeks. And then, went in for the blood draw, got my blood taken that day, waited all day for them to call me back excitedly. And then I got the call that afternoon that I was not pregnant. And something inside of me broke into a million little pieces in that moment. It was the most devastating thing. I had always known in the back of my head logically that it would maybe not work, but had hoped so much that it would work. And when it didn't work, it was the lowest and most despairing time I've ever experienced in my life. My poor husband just sat there and watched as I completely turned inward and completely shut down, and really struggled for many days to kind of come to grips with this and understand what was going on and why this had happened in our lives. I remember during that time, I saw a picture of my husband and I from a vacation we'd taken earlier, and I distinctly remember thinking to myself, oh, we were happy then. I don't think I'm ever going to be happy again. Like, I truly never thought that I would ever find anything to joy over again. But thankfully, the human spirit wants to have hope. I believe that as human beings, we want to be happy, we want to find hope in the world. And slowly, as the days and weeks went on, I slowly came out of that. Friends and family gave me an outpouring of love, many prayers, I'm sure, lots going on to support me. And I did come out of that and did start to feel that there was good things in the world again. There was one day where I remember the very first time I had like a good belly laugh, like a real hysterical laugh, and it was so relieving. It felt like just a weight was being lifted off of my shoulders. So I came through that and I felt better slowly. Still had obviously the scars of that and the sadness about it, but saw that yes, there was optimism and good things in the world again. So fast forward a few more months, we still had those 2 little embryos frozen waiting to go. So we decided to use them again, or to try to use them. And so we got ready. It was a few weeks of leading up to that time where they give you hormones and whatnot to try to make it an ideal situation for the pregnancy to occur. So finally the day comes, I'm getting ready that morning at home, waiting to go to the doctors. And we get a phone call from the doctors saying, we've thawed the 2 embryos and neither of them are viable. They've both died. So don't bother coming in because you have nothing. So basically, all options exhausted at that point. And again, total devastation. We didn't even get to try to get pregnant that time because the embryos weren't viable. And again, feeling very distraught and very sad over what was going to happen in my life and what was going to go on. But even as I'm feeling this way, I remember distinctly thinking to myself, you've been through this before, and you were okay. You did get happy again. You did feel joy. There is hope in your life. And I drew upon that and thought of that many times when I had those moments where I thought, why am I even doing this? What is going on? What's the purpose of my life? I drew upon that and remembered that no, I had gotten through a really terrible heartache before and come out the other side of it, and that I knew I could do that again. And I think that that's what adversity does for us. It helps us and shows us that we have the ability to be able to become stronger. That experience the first time around of that heartbreak showed me that I could get over that, I could be stronger because of it, and then I was able to face the future trial with more resilience because I knew that I had gone through that before. The poet Douglas Malloch said, "Good timber does not grow with ease. The stronger the wind, the stronger the trees. The further the sky, the greater the length. The more the storm, the more the strength. By sun and cold, by rain and snow, in trees and men, good timber grows." I promise you that if you look at your trials and your adversities as an opportunity to be strengthened, to grow from them, that it will help you to be a more resilient person, to find more happiness in your life, and to be able to overcome those heartaches and those disappointments that come. And I know this because I have experienced it myself, and I know that we are able to become stronger, better, and more pure people through the difficulties that we face. Thank you.